What is happening? Moola, Jason Shappert here. Is it Wednesday? It's Wednesday night. Happy Wednesday night. So great to see everybody out there on another phenomenal evening. Diving deeper into the topic of making 2025 your strongest, your best financial year yet. Because there's even greater to come. Hey, Rami, what's happening, man? Good to see you out there again. This is like how many nights in a row now? It's getting good. My beautiful wife's in the comments as well. Good to see you all out there. Pop in the comments and say hey on TikTok. Hey, Gail, nice to see you over there as well. Who's watching on YouTube and Facebook? Pop in the comments and say hi. It is what day are we on now? Is it 10? I think we're on day 10. You lose track after a while. It is day 10 of the 14-day Moola challenge, where, like I said, we're working on your mindset. We're working on launching you towards financial freedom. We're working on making 2025 your best financial year yet. We've talked about mindset. We've talked about tackling debt, especially credit card debt. We've talked about good debt versus bad debt, everything else. We've talked about all these things. And tonight we're going to keep getting our hands dirty and talking about some different investments we can be making to work us towards success with all that. Rami, you're exactly right. 4 nights. He's going to catch up on past episodes too. You have to. You'll have some homework. When this will end on Sunday, so you'll have some homework with that as well. Hey, let's honor everybody's time because I know it's late for some of you. Let's dive really right into it here. I want to start. Today's topic is, okay, Jason, you've convinced me. We learned yesterday about the power of $5 a day, or 2 days ago, $5 a day. We talked about our 20-mile march. We've shared all these things. We're excited about it. Rami is excited about it. Hunter's excited about it. Where do I invest now, Jason? I thank you for getting me all fired up. I'm ready to, kick butt and take names. What do I do with it now? Let's go through it together here. Let's honor everybody's time. Let's get right into it. First and foremost, take the advice of the wise Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett said, I only invest in what he calls his circle of competence, meaning dude only invests in what he understands, what he knows, what he can easily explain. Someone asked at their last Berkshire Hathaway meeting. Berkshire Hathaway is his large holding company. And by the way, if you don't know who Warren Buffett is, you've used his products. See's Candy, Geico. Soon you'll be flying on NetJets, right? These are all Berkshire Hathaway companies, Warren Buffett holdings. I could name a lot more, but you recognize those 3 brands probably. There's many, many others in there. Now, with that, only investing in his circle of competence, someone asked him, well, what about NVIDIA? And what about, Planter? And what about all these AI startups? And he said, listen, I'm 92 years old. I can't remember how old Warren Buffett is. He's in his 90s. He goes, I don't get technology. He goes, insurance, I get. Private aircraft travel, I get. Selling chocolates, I get. I don't get artificial intelligence. I don't get algorithms and all that. And that is fine. He said, that is outside of my circle of competence, so I don't invest in it. And honestly, it's advice we should all apply. I don't want you investing just because Moola ranked something well for you in the app or whatever it is. You'll notice inside the Moola app, one thing we have is, what does this company do? Because I want you to be able to tell your friends when they say, hey, Austin, why did you invest in that? Or what does that company even do? Oh, well, they make this, they produce this, or you use their products here. And be able to explain that to them. If you can't explain it to somebody, you probably shouldn't be investing in it. I even look at it now, like with crypto, and my wife and I, we have some crypto holdings, right? Not a ton, right? A very small 1, maybe 2% of our entire portfolio as the speculation portion of this. But so many people are jumping on crypto, and yet if you ask them why, it's just because it's hot right now, because everyone's doing it, because Bitcoin is the next thing, they say. But tell me, why is Bitcoin the next thing? Because if you really dive deep, there is crypto from the meme coins, which are a term I use is like a digital souvenir. Kind of, I mean, it's plain English, kind of a crude way to call it, but it's true. And there's others, right? Like you hear about XRP is very hot. Well, XRP perpetuates essentially a blockchain ledger. Ethereum, like all these different coins, tokens, what they're really called, can perpetuate a blockchain, a ledger, and really operate within their own entire ecosystem. And if what I'm saying to you is going like way over your head crazy, maybe that's not the right investment for you. You can't just hop on Bitcoin because everyone's hopping on Bitcoin because someone told you it's going to be the next big thing. Now, if you want to speculate with 1% of your portfolio with it, by all means. There's great ETFs to do that, so you don't have to hold it in a crypto wallet or anything like that. But if you don't understand how this token is helping the blockchain ecosystem, it may not be the smartest investment for you. All these AI startups, the same thing. Maybe you take the things that you understand and know. That's what's so important. Next thing I want to really reiterate, because right now you're thinking, okay, I understand, Jason, my circle of competence. What do I know? What can I relate to? Just because, my second point is just because it's a company you know doesn't mean it's profitable. You ready for this? Did you know that Uber, for the first 12 years of its existence, was not profitable? Since launched in 2008 all the way up on through, it just recently began turning a profit. And you would say, well, how could a company like Uber not be profitable? Well, it wasn't for a very long time, right? There's some slim margins, right? They were trading dollars for pennies to try to make profit. They had to lean that company up a lot bit. There are a lot of great companies that you may know that may be publicly traded like Uber was, that are unprofitable. And that's actually one of the main factors when we built the Moola meter, as we call it, which is really the algorithm that you saw a few nights ago that ranks individual stocks. One of the main criteria is this company profitable? Did Uber's stock do well even though it was unprofitable? Perhaps, right? It's basic supply and demand plus add some inflation in there and everything else. But at the end of the day, I want you are a long-term investor. Please, if you're trying to be a day trader, this is not the series for you. This is for somebody who's looking to place some great investments and hang on for 5, 10, 15 years and continue to use dollar cost averaging to watch their investments grow. That is really the entire, it's passive investing. It is not active investing. Active investing is expensive. You'll hear the term actively managed mutual funds. When you hear the word active, just think expensive. That means there's people to pay that are actively managing these things for you, and thus the fees come into it with that. You need to be very mindful of that. This is why I want to encourage you to invest in index funds and ETFs, particularly those that mimic the S&P 500. Now, some of you have messaged and asked and said, Jason, I get it. I've heard of the S&P 500. But what is the S&P 500? And I know there's people out there thinking that now. Let me show you something real quick. Let me find. I've got a million. Anybody else have a million windows open here? I'm a million window kind of guy here. Anyways, let's screen share. Let me. There we go. That worked. Okay, I got all that. Perfect. This is the S&P 500. I can zoom in if you need me to, but I'll just go over it. So the S&P 500 is the 500 largest companies in the United States and international stocks as well, because some of these have international presence, and they're held there by their weight, meaning how much, hey, Austin, good to see you, how much weight, right? 6% of the S&P 500 is Apple. 5.99, another 6% is Microsoft. NVIDIA, 5.69. So when Apple, Microsoft, and NVIDIA are down, it's very likely that the whole S&P 500 is down because these three alone make up 18% of the S&P 500 as an index. So one thing I want you to be mindful of is a lot of times you'll hear people push, invest in the S&P 500 for diversification. And they're not wrong because they just say, oh, there's 500 stocks. But look at them by weight. Apple, tech. Microsoft, tech. Nvidia, tech. Amazon, oh, okay, there's some retail, but those, like Moola is hosted on Amazon. There's a big tech play between, I'll say Echo devices. I won't say the A word because it'll trigger all your devices in your house, right? If I say Alexa, I won't do that to you. Meta, that's your Facebook, that's your Instagram, tech. Alphabet is Google, tech. Tesla, yes, it's a car company, but who knows what Elon's up to lately, right? Broadcom, tech. Another Alphabet Class C, tech. Here's your buddy Warren, Berkshire Hathaway. There's your first non-tech company there at number 10. And look at this. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 20, 25. Your 30%, 1 through 9 make up 30% of the S&P 500, and I could make a tech argument for all of them, including Amazon and even Tesla from that standpoint. So just be very mindful when people tell you, first off, the majority of our investments are in an S&P 500 ETF. 80% of our portfolio is made up that way. However, I get my diversification outside of tech right now. Now, if this was 10 years ago, your market leaders would have been your JP Morgan, Eli Lilly, pharmaceuticals, Visa, finances, Exxon, oil, United Healthcare, right? Health and insurance, Walmart, Netflix for little tech, Home Depot, Procter & Gamble, that's your toilet paper, toothpaste, Johnson & Johnson, there's your baby wipes, right? AbbVie is your pharmaceutical. You see, it used to be where you could really get all that diversification. Now, because of how the industry's grown so much, your top 9 holdings are all technology. And there's nothing wrong with that. Technology is booming right now. Will that boom last forever? I don't know. I'm not trying to predict the future. I'm trying to make smart long-term investments. So I like a majority of your portfolio being in an S&P 500, but I also like to see you have some diversification. That is very, very important to me. So let me show you kind of what I mean with this. Let me go back to Moola here real quick. Let me load it real quick and just hold on, I gotta get logged in. I will show you everything here. Let me go back and show you Moola quickly here. Don't mind the Sophia picture. My wife told me last night, she said, can you change that picture of me and Sophia? Look how cute they are. Look. There's Sophia with her glasses. She's cute. My wife was like, I told you to change that, but it's okay. Anyways, back into Moola. So inside Moola, I want to show you quickly here how we do the ETFs, because this is so crucial, right? So if we go invest, and by the way, I know Austin and some of you are going to ask, I'm still pending Apple's approval and Google's approval for that matter. I just messaged them today, like, hey, when are you going to let me launch this thing? Because it's ready, it's waiting. Anyways, I'll get into the stock scoring and everything else here in just a second, but index and ETFs, this is what I want to show. So I've given you 3, and I believe tomorrow we're going to dive deeper into each of these 3, what they really mean. They all mimic the S&P 500. They do it each with a bit of a twist. VOO is a great one. This is Vanguard. Typically, in most of the Vanguard funds, you need a $10,000 investment before you can even get into it. Moola lets you start with $5, right? So it's very easy. So you can see, here's your 3 big S&P 500 ETFs, which mimic exactly what I just showed you on the previous screen. But then we break it out to give you that diversification. Now, the NASDAQ 100 is not going to give you that diversification you want. The NASDAQ 100 is the 100 largest companies on the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ is known for its tech. So you will not, if you do the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100, you're not going to have a ton of diversification, but you'll be all in on tech. Maybe Austin, you say, dude, I'm all in on tech right now. Let's do it for the next 5 years. Then I'll diversify out. Here's your Bitcoin ETF if you want to do some of that as well. And here's some more interesting plays to add some diversification in that portfolio. And again, I'm talking depending on age and how aggressive you want to be. Rami, you mentioned you got 15 years. Maybe you go 80% of your portfolio in an S&P 500 index fund. And then we go like, 5, 5, 5, and 5. Here we go 5% in gold, 5% in silver. You could really get some diversification doing some oil stocks, some ag stocks, agriculture, real estate as well, depending what you believe real estate's going to do. I've divided these up to some are residential, some are commercial as well. Obviously, you probably wouldn't go back into more technology. Maybe you say, you know what? Banks are going to do really well. I really want to be in the Bank of America, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, Visa, MasterCard. That's finance sector is going to really boom. And I believe that, by the way. And I'm not trying to make a market prediction here, but all this technology has to benefit industry, and the finance industry is so ripe to benefit so greatly from artificial intelligence. Look what we're doing with Moola now, right? Moola wasn't even able to exist 5, 10 years ago, but it's because of technology, in particular large language models and artificial intelligence, that have even allowed that to actually happen. Energy, industrials. What are industrials? This is your Lockheed Martin. This is your Nucor. This is forbid we were to go to war, this would boom and go through the roof, right? So if you ever get the idea, maybe a war is coming, right? Your industrial stocks are going to go through the roof. Maybe you want to pick into some dividends and everything else as well. Maybe you want some international exposure. All that is there, and all of these are index funds, and they are not managed index funds. Let me go back. Oops, wrong camera. Let's go back to that guy. There we go. That was my FaceTime camera. I got too many buttons in front of me here. These are not actively managed funds. All you're doing is buying an index, which is literally negligible fees compared to a mutual fund or something like that. I'm telling you, please avoid mutual funds. What you don't, I'll find the study. Magda, remind me to find the study tomorrow. It was like 80% of mutual fund managers don't invest their own money in their own fund, or something crazy. It's the cobbler's kids don't have shoes. It's the barber's kid has a bad haircut or no haircut. It's like ridiculous how some of this happens sometimes. So you have to work to manage all of this better, and just, I guess, manage expectations a little bit better as well. So I'll be diving tomorrow deeper into what's inside a lot of these ETFs and these index funds, but I kind of want you to start thinking, you know, Austin, what does your portfolio look like? What? And you hopped on a little bit late, Austin. I was sharing earlier how Warren Buffett only invests in his circle of competence. Austin, maybe you're super comfortable investing in crypto and AI because you understand it, but you're not as comfortable investing in steel manufacturing. You're like, well, I know they make steel, but like, aren't we done making railroads? Like, what are we still built? Like, right? Maybe you just don't understand that. You want to invest in what you know, and that's probably a silly example, but you get it. I gave the example of not everybody should invest in crypto because they just think it's hot. They don't understand how certain tokens perpetuate the entire blockchain. Like, there's this ecosystem that is the blockchain, and people need to understand that as well. And I shared, just because a company is something you know doesn't always mean it's profitable as well. I gave the example of Uber with that. And that's one thing too, back into Moola. If I can go back in, well, I'll show it to you real quick. Let me go back in there. Oops, that's the wrong screen to share. Let's go, where is it here? I think I closed it out. Screen share. You're just seeing everything. You're seeing TikTok too. That's okay. Anyways, back into the actual investing side of things here. You'll see when we go through how we screen our stocks, one of our criteria is, are these companies profitable? Like, I don't want to show you companies that are not profitable, right? That's archaic from that standpoint. So we want to make sure we're just looking at profitable companies from that standpoint there as well. Just vitally, vitally important stuff. So I'll get more into that tomorrow. We're gonna geek out on that more. We'll dive into some of the individual fundamentals of what makes a great company, what makes a great ETF as well. But for now, I just want you thinking about the diversification mechanism. I love the S&P 500. As we learned, was it last night or 2 nights ago, the S&P 500 over the past 30 years, what did we say, 10.2%? It's crazy. It's crazy. And that's what the banks are doing. That's what these investment houses are doing. Everything else is they're investing in it, and they're charging you or paying you a minimal amount of interest. Be mindful of that. It's time to turn compound interest, instead of you paying it, into you receiving it. That's what's so vital and important. So listen, I look forward to seeing you all back again tomorrow as we get more into the nitty-gritty. I'll keep you posted on the Moola app launch as well. Thank you for being so patient on that. I'm bugging Google persistently every day. We just built out the Android, the Google APK as well, and submitted that to Google just shortly before hopping on here with you all. So if you're Android, that'll be coming as a fast follower in a few days as well. So excited to get you in there, get your retirement accounts, get all of that set up. But listen, go enjoy your night. Start thinking about what is your circle of competence and start thinking about how you can be thinking bigger. You've got this. 2025 is going to be your best financial year yet. Have a blessed, abundant, outstanding rest of your evening. I'll see y'all.